I'm Nina, I'm a photographer, a filmmaker, and I co-run a youth magazine called The Cut. I first got into photography when I was doing my A-levels. I did a GCSE in photography at the same time. That's when I got my first camera, so I got like an old school analogue camera where you're shooting with film. It was quite hard to use at first, but I'm actually really glad I learnt that way because that's how I learnt to be technical. I mean, I wouldn't say I'm the most technical photographer, so I've sort of had to teach myself a little bit. I guess what inspires me is just the things around me, the things in my everyday life, and that's the kind of stuff I was shooting when I was 17, 18. Even though I've always sort of done photography, I guess that wasn't really how I got into doing creative projects. The first thing I did was a fanzine that I run with my best friend Nendi, and we did that at art college, and that was very much about presenting our view of what our youth culture and our music and our things were, putting that out into the world. And it was kind of a time before there were blogs, before the internet really took off. A lot of my photography is like street-based, so I might see someone on the street in a particular outfit and that's what sort of draws me to them. Would it be possible to take a picture of you guys?
Yes, okay, yeah.
And then I might then find out, oh, this person's actually really interesting. I'd like to make a film about them, or would like to, you know, spend some time with them. So I guess a lot of it at the time it starts in the street or in an everyday environment. From there, getting to know that person, getting them sort of to trust me, especially getting some more interesting stuff about representation of young people in culture, because I feel like there still is a really negative portrayal of young people in London that is very much in the mainstream media, and I think it's really important that a different version gets put out there. The Cut magazine is a youth authored magazine, so basically the idea behind it's a kind of a collaborative project. So it's really about working with a big team of young people to present a more interesting, like, positive version of what it means to be young and growing up in London. And that's kind of one side of what I do. And then I guess the photography is slightly different because it's more about me having an author's role. A lot of my photographs I just take when I'm out and about. I just happen to have my camera and I'll see something on the Kingsland Road and I'll shoot it. In a way, I think the camera is a really good tool for getting to know your area. It's like it gives you a way in. It's like kind of like a social tool in a way, and it can make you feel more comfortable with yourself and your surroundings. You might use it as a way to kind of get to know your community, and I think subconsciously I probably have done that from since I've been living here. The fact that a lot of my photography has been of Hackney and Dalston, of just like community life. It's just a way of me feeling comfortable in my area. If I was to be 18 again, starting out doing photography, the one thing I would say is just don't be afraid of approaching people and asking them to take their photograph. It's having that little bit of that kind of guts to go out there. Living in an area, and that's what really kind of inspires me. For me, it's really natural that I document my surroundings, but that's not what inspires everyone. There's so many different kinds of photography, but for me in particular, it's really just about responding to my environment, responding to the people around me, and I guess it's a way of kind of getting in touch with your community. It's kind of like the camera is a bit of a vehicle for doing that. It's really important to get your work out there. I mean, nowadays we live in such a kind of an age where it's really, really easy to do that. It's really important to get your work seen, I think, and to use the internet and to use platforms and to really, you know, make sure you get your work exposed.